Hello and welcome to another live stream of Euro 2020 Happy Hour Last Orders. And we're live with myself, Sham, otherwise known as FPL 2 Guys 1 Cup on Twitter.
And myself, Rob, otherwise known as FPL Panda.
Rob, how are you?
That was a shit evening of football, wasn't it? Really boring.
we had two cracking games, and tonight we've got two cracking guests. First of all the way from Norway, it's Sophie, aka Apples and Juice, and Ruxi, aka at Fantasy Scout. Ruxi, aka Fantasy Scout 11, all the way from India. How are you both?
Fine, very fine. It's been a great.
Yeah,
doing great.
I don't know who's supposed to speak first, but it's been a great night of football.
Nice. Before we start, Sophie, do you want to introduce yourself first? Give yourself a plug in terms of what you do, what your name is, all of that.
Okay, my name is Sophie. I tweet quite a bit about fantasy football, mostly. Have a sort of TV show about that in Norway, and now I'm doing Euro. Sort of working with a Euro game, which is Norwegian, and with one of our main sports broadcasters over in Norway. So it's like a Norwegian take on Euro fantasy, though. So
nice.
Yeah, that's.
I think you've definitely undersold yourself with the. I tweet a bit about fantasy. You're like one of the Twitter queens, I must say, with regards to fantasy. You're well known and well regarded. So yeah, thanks for coming on. And then we've got Ruxi, who's got you've got your own YouTube channel. Do you want to tell us about that and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi guys. So basically I've been playing FPL for 12, 13 years. So deeply into fantasy football. So around 3-4 years ago, I started my own YouTube channel. Now I basically do fantasy football videos based on an Indian DFS app, a daily fantasy football app. So I'm doing this full time now for the past couple of years. And of course, it's been a lot of fun, of course. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for joining, Roxy. We really appreciate that. So yeah, let's start on with the show. We'll start off with the agenda for today and what we're kind of going to be doing. So we're going to be covering the last 6 games, so yesterday's and today's games. We're then going to go through Panda's picture sections, and I think we've got quite a few pictures, but I don't know if we're going to show all of them. We're then going to be looking at the round of 16 and what that looks like. We'll talk about some teams to target, what we think of the draw. And then I know all of us are playing different fantasy games. So rather than just looking at the Euros fantasy, we'll just kind of talk about how we've done in the relevant fantasy games that we've been playing. When we go through this, all the fantasy options are kind of relevant anyway. So, in any fantasy game, they're all relevant. And then we'll go for a Q&A. So once we get to the end, I will drop in the chat and say in here when to drop in your questions. So drop in your questions and then we'll cover them. Right, so let's start off with the match day 3 review for the yesterday's games, and let's go with Rob first. You were looking at England and the Czech. A very boring game, right?
It was boring, but I think I don't mind England being boring if they're going to just grind out 1-0 wins through the tournament. I think Southgate's done. I mean, we spoke about it pre-tournament when we had James on about them trying to set up this foundation defensively. And last night with Maguire joining that back four, they looked so solid, and we saw at times, especially in the first half, the fact that Maguire and Stones very comfortable to bring the ball out, and the quality of passing from Maguire, it can suddenly switch them from being sort of on the back foot to suddenly being on the front foot, which we saw with that through ball that he played from like the halfway line into Kane, and I mean Kane should have finished it in all honesty, but in the second half they came out very much it was very much a case of we're not going to concede a goal. We're happy to take this 1-0 and go into the next round, which I mean, we all want to see entertaining football, and when you've got the players that England do in abundance, attacking wise, yeah, you do want to see them sort of really go at people. I think they'll be forced to at times in the round of 16. Um, it's interesting that we haven't seen them go behind in a game yet. Have they got the right mentality to then, if they play in the same way, to suddenly then just switch it on and just go at a team? Which, yeah, if they fall behind, then they're going to have to do that.
What did
So,
you think of Saka? Because a lot of people were disappointed not to see Sancho in the side pre-game, but I thought Saka had a pretty good game.
yeah, I think Southgate's picked Saka because he works. I mean, he works phenomenally hard, and he's not afraid to defend. Like, there was a couple of occasions where the back four almost became a five, with Walker slotting into the right side of centre half and Saka coming in as a right wing back. And it was very much like that whenever Czech Republic got the ball, especially in the second half. But it was the fact that he'll pick the ball up in these spaces, which he did in the build up towards England's goal. And he's not afraid to try and turn and go. And he did that brilliantly for the goal. So, I mean, it would be a very tough decision for Southgate now to drop him, especially against the German. I've got a feeling it might have been something, knowing that we're going to have a tough, win the group, we're going to have a tough fixture. Let's work on something tactically that can help keep us solid at the back for that potential tough fixture. And we've just seen that, that tough fixture will be the
Germans.
the other old enemy, the Germans. But with which they're going to have to be solid at the back, because the Germans do have a lot of great attacking assets. And we've seen that their fullbacks like to get high up and really attack as well. So, it's interesting moving forward. I mean, on the side of Czech Republic, they went into the game as underdogs, and you could see why they didn't really threaten too much. There was a couple of fleeting moments for the Czechs. I can't see them going too much further in the tournament. As they start playing against tougher defences, they're going to struggle. Patrick Schick was very much isolated up front.
Yeah.
He wasn't the player we saw against Scotland, where against a considerably weaker defence. It's I wouldn't be punting on Czech Republic assets in the round of 16. I'm not sure about England ones at the moment. It's a bit too soon to really have it sink in what the fixture is going to be. But defensively, I think England do look very solid.
Sophie, what did you think of England, and would you be looking at anyone from England going forward from a fantasy point of view against Germany?
No, not for me, but I'm a bit skeptical of England. I haven't really been very impressed by them so far. But I think that's mostly because of Kane, because of how he's... and it's also because of, in terms of fantasy, I guess I find it very hard to predict which players are I can count on to start from England. So that's also a big part of it. And I've been sort of lucky that I haven't gone for Kane, because I've found him. I was like, oh no, Kane against Scotland, obvious captain, and but he hasn't really performed after or how you'd expect. So,
Rakshi, anyone from Czech Republic that you'll be looking at?
Yeah, so Patrick Schick has to be the guy to focus on right now. He scored 3 goals. He scored that wonderful goal against Scotland. And overall, he has looked very sharp in the box. So I think the Czech Republic faced Netherlands, and we know Netherlands are not the best defensively. I mean, they conceded a couple of goals against Ukraine in their first round of matches. So I think Czech Republic can bag a goal, and if you are willing to take a punt, maybe it's on Patrick Schick. Uh, Apart from that, there is always Suchek, who is a, a beast in the box, so he can always nod in a set piece. And of course, Sufal as right back, a good crosser of the ball. So a Sufal Schick combination, for example, assist goal can work if you're willing to take a punt. Apart from these three, not very sure. Not very sure about the Czech Republic. Netherlands is a very tough fixture for the Czech Republic. I think they'll finally lose out and their Euro run will end.
Okay, anything else on England or the Czech Republic from any of you?
Yeah, so regarding England, I mean, who do we go for? For example, you have Germany next. So do you really want to go for a defender? I know England have not conceded a goal so far, but going for an English defender for that match is anyways risky. And can we really trust any attacking player from England? I mean, we don't even know who's going to start. Kane is not in good form. I don't know if Foden's going to start. Grealish is going to start. Saka's going to start. Maybe Raheem Sterling, but I really don't trust any English player. So I think I'll avoid England. Yeah.
Sterling has been their best attacking player, actually.
Yeah, he scored there a couple of goals. No one else has scored.
No one else has, yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll come back to it later on. It's just, yeah, there's a couple of players that stick out like from a value point of view for me. But yeah, we'll come back to it. Yeah, when I've had time to think whether it's something stupid to say.
We'll speak about England shortly because I've got a proposition for the chat that if we get to 300 subscribers tonight, one of the pictures that I hope you're going to show in Panda's Pictures, when I'm at the England game next week, I will follow that. Right, and I will do. So there's one picture, right, which Rob might show. I don't know. Have you uploaded that picture?
You're gonna dress up in a kilt.
There is a picture, and I've said that I will dress up as this person if we get to 300 subscribers today. So so we're at 285 so far. So yeah, like, subscribe, do all of that, and I will next week.
You're gonna dress up as Martin Dubravka.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see. Right, let's move on to the next game. And that is Scotland v Croatia. And Rakshit, you looked at this one. Seems to be a very entertaining game. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a really fun game. I mean, the best part about this game was that the winner of this game would go on to the next round. So both teams had an incentive to win the match. So Croatia, Scotland both went for it. I actually thought Scotland would do well in this match in Hampden Park, home crowd, etc. But eventually, Croatia's quality came through. Actually, Luka Modric's quality came through. What a goal that was. He scored the second goal outside of his foot, outside the box. And if you have players like Luka Modric in your team, Perisic, Vlasic, who scored the first goal, and I really feel Scotland overall were outclassed, especially in the attacking third. Scotland have a good defense. I mean, they have a good left side of the defense. They have Robertson, they have Kieran Tierney, McTominay is decent, but in the attacking third, they were just not penetrative enough. I mean, Shea Adams, Lyndon Dykes, etc. It's just not the same as Luka Modric and Ivan Perisic, who were different class on the night. Luka Modric, I mean, continues to deliver on the big stage, 35 years old, and I would say his quality was, I mean, exceptional in this particular match. A lot of standout players from a Croatian point of view. I don't think we need to talk about Scotland much. They're out. So
yeah,
from a Croatian point of view, Perisic, so Modric has looked good and goal and assist in this match, but Perisic, he has been, in terms of fantasy, the best performer for Croatia. He scored in the last match as well against Czech Republic, brilliant goal. Another guy who caught my eye was Guardiol, the left back. He was getting into a lot of attacking positions, and in terms of a striker, the manager Dalic has not settled into a fixed number 9. There is Kramaric, Rebic, Petkovic played in this match. So I think I would go for the midfielders, maybe Perisic or Modric. They play Spain in the next match, so I don't think I'll go for the Croatian defense, and so probably stick with the midfield.
Okay. Sophie, any additional thoughts on this game?
No, not really. You summed it up quite nicely, so it's no need for me to drag it out.
Okay, Rob.
Exactly the same. I mean, I've only watched sort of brief highlights of it. I think, yeah, it was very comfortable in the end for Croatia. But I think they haven't they still haven't filled me with confidence moving forward. I'm just, yeah, they're maybe not a team that are going to go sort of deep, sort of into the semi-finals or anything. They're very much sort of on the sort of downward slope from their peak a couple of years ago. So yeah, if you're going to punt on anyone, though, surely
Gonna do
Perisic and Modric, they're the sort of players that they'd be the ones that just drag them further through the tournament.
But I'm with you there.
Do you think sorry, Sophie, what were you saying?
I'm just not really convinced by Croatia. But
yeah, I was going to say I like the look of Perisic, but obviously they're playing Spain in the next round. Spain, from a defensive point of view, have been quite good. Vakshit, do you think it's worth punting on the likes of Perisic against that Spanish defense?
Well, not really. I mean, Spain.
That's pretty much the answer there.
I mean, so I would not say Spain convinced me defensively. They have conceded one goal, but Isaac in the first match when Sweden were playing Spain, he almost scored. And I think their defensive stability comes from the fact they keep a lot of the ball. So opposition has hardly any ball in the match, and they are not able to create many chances. I fear that in the Spain match, that whenever Modric gets on the ball, he looks for Perisic, for example, or Petkovic, etc. They can create enough opportunities, maybe catch Spain on the counter, but I think it would be a big punt to go for a Croatian midfielder. We have a lot of options in midfield, so definitely better people to go for.
Okay, all right, let's look on the next game, and this was the one this afternoon. Sophie, you looked at this one, Sweden and Poland.
Oh yeah, that was a great game.
Very entertaining game, right? What did you think?
Yeah, so basically it's now Poland are out, but they so it was Forsberg and Lewandowski's nights tonight in that game. Both scored 2 goals for their teams, and Poland may actually have had, at least they were the better team in the second half. In the first half, I thought I didn't really see Poland being that into the game, but they did have like a huge chance, which was actually comical that they didn't score because it went up into the crossbar not once but twice.
Yeah.
And I was pretty sure it was in at that point, but it wasn't. So but it was a very interesting game, and I guess in terms of fantasy, it's Forsberg for me because he's on all set pieces. For Sweden, he's also, I mean, he's the one that's scoring the goals. I know that Isak is also an interesting attacker of theirs, but there's this thing where he hasn't actually scored a goal yet, and that is if I had him in fantasy, I would be quite frustrated at this point because he's so good, but it's just not happening, or it just hasn't happened yet. So so I think maybe my favorite from Sweden is Forsberg, and I mean it's you can't really discuss Sweden without mentioning their goalkeeper Olsen, who's also been incredible for them in all their games. I think Sweden were a lot more vulnerable in defense today than they've been a bit, like they've conceded a lot of chances against Spain as well. So they've been a bit lucky, I think, and they've also had Olsen, who's been on fire for them. He's made some great saves for Sweden, but they did really look quite vulnerable in defense today. So I'm sort of I don't know, but they do face Ukraine in their next in the round of 16. So there might definitely be an opportunity to target Forsberg, for me at least, I like him a lot for that game, but I'm not sure about their defense after today.
Roxy, what do you think on Swedish assets against Ukraine? Oh, is he frozen?
I think he might have frozen.
I think he's frozen.
It's
Rob,
either
I'll
that
go
or-
to you.
It's either that or he's thinking.
Yeah. Rob, let's hope.
I'm
we'll
sure
wait
he'll be
for,
back in a minute.
What's your thoughts on Swedish assets? Do you think Forsberg is an option against Ukraine, or and if he is, are any other defenders? Ukraine look quite good from an attacking point of view.
Yeah, I'm not going to be looking at Swedish defenders, I don't think. But Robin Olsen is good value. He's a good one to have as like your other keeper, as your backup, depending on who you're getting in as your other choice. I think that Sweden would play on Monday. I've got a funny feeling they play on Monday, so you kind of, if you're going for someone that's on the Tuesday, so either Pickford or Neuer, which is tricky, then you'd have Olsen. I'm not keen on him being the backup keeper. I'd rather he be the first keeper that plays. So yeah, not sure about that, especially with the Avatar on Tuesday as well. So, but Forsberg he's someone I looked at for my wild card, and I know we briefly talked about him a bit between match day 2 and match day 3. And yeah, I kind of wish I did get him in instead of bringing in Isaac, because it was like a coin flip between the two of them, who I brought in, and yeah, it just happened to be the wrong one.
Did you have him
Sorry,
this week or
Sophie,
last
you're. Oh, sorry, go on.
Sorry.
Oh, is he back in? Is he rejoined? I was just wondering. Sorry, go on, Sophie. What were you saying?
Did you have Isaac this week or last week?
This week.
Okay.
So not sure.
Roxy, did you want to? Is your video working now? Did you want to try and come back in? I can see you in the chat. You might just be on different cameras. So, is there a way of sorting out the cameras from there, Rob, or not?
He should come in the right place. It should be all right.
I'm seeing like
he's in now.
I'm seeing half my head.
There we
and
go.
Yeah.
It should all be in the right place.
Perfect. All right, so let's move on. Roxy, can you hear us?
Yeah, so basically there's a storm going on, so there'll be
Oh no!
might be
Oh,
some
you lost all
fluctuations.
your light as well. I can see that.
Yeah,
You
I'm
lost
on the
your light as
emergency
well.
light right now. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Are you all right to carry on?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I was just saying, anyone from the Swedish side that you would look to target against Ukraine, and would you look at their defense as well, or just Forsberg
Yeah, so
maybe?
from whatever I could catch, Sophie, Forsberg is the guy. So initially, when the tournament began, I thought Sebastian Larsson was on penalties for Sweden, but in the second match, I think Forsberg took the penalty. Plus, he's in very good form. He's scored a couple of goals in this match, and Isaac is obviously a punt you can go for, but he's been a little unconvincing in the last couple of matches. Robin Olsen, I agree with. Ukraine take a lot of shots. Yarmolenko, Yaremchuk, Malinovsky, they basically shoot from outside the box quite a lot. So I think he can get a lot of save points. And if Sweden do keep a clean sheet, I think he can be the goalkeeper to go for. It's a very difficult match to call. It's pretty even teams overall. So maybe Sweden can churn out a clean sheet and Olsen can give you a decent score.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at the next game then, and that is Spain and Slovakia. Rob, you looked at this one. It was a rout basically for Spain, which isn't what we've seen in them.
Yeah, it was the Slovakia that we were expecting maybe from the to come into the tournament. They kind of outperformed themselves in their first 2 games. So yeah, it's disappointing from them, but on the other hand, Spain really punished them. Morata, I still don't know why Morata is still starting for them. Like really, the guy's just got no confidence whatsoever. Although his work rate well, like it was. You could see why Luis Enrique does like him, because he does continue to put himself in the right places, in the right positions. But yeah, he took a penalty tonight, and I just laughed because the moment he put the ball down for the penalty, I was like, he's going to miss this because that's Alvaro Morata at the moment.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, they were. I mean, on Spain as a whole, having Sergio Busquets back in that midfield just completely changed everything about them. The way that they move the ball from back to front. He's obviously the leader. He's the most experienced player in the squad with Ramos not there. So it's he you can see how important he is to that Spanish side, and him and Pedri in that midfield just controlled the game. Everything went through them two, and I mean Pedri could have had some, like on another day he could have had some returns. He created a couple of chances, but I'm still not overly convinced on Spain moving deeper into the tournament. Obviously, the alarm signs have been there in the first two games against bigger, more like some of the favourites in the tournament. I think they will struggle because they haven't got that. I mean, I don't think there's that cohesion at the back. Jordi Alba isn't the player he was sort of 5 years ago. He's lost that little bit of pace that he used to have, which used to make him really tricky to go up against. Laporte is still, I think he's still settling in, although he got his goal today as well, which was good. Pau Torres looks like a really good defender moving into the future. But yeah,
he didn't start today, right?
No.
I think
No.
Yeah.
He came on the last 20 minutes ago.
I think he will. Like Pau Torres, I think is him and Laporte will be I think that will be the pairing moving forward. But yeah, I just don't know about them. And I mean, the way that they did blow away Slovakia, they were kind of ruthless in it. I mean, yeah, there was a good sort of 15, 20-minute period where you thought, wait a minute, this could be 6 or 7. But I don't know. I really don't know about Spain. I don't think we learned much. We've learned much more positives from them from this game because Slovakia were that poor. They were all over the place at the back.
Rakshi, Rob doesn't know much about Spain. What do you think about Spain?
I have a sneaky feeling about Spain. So I think they may have peaked at the right time. I certainly did not expect a 5-0 win today. And they were creating a lot of chances, even in the first two matches. Like, for example, against Sweden, should have scored. Even in the last match, they should have scored more goals against Poland. And I think it finally clicked. As Luis Enrique mentioned, I think mentioned that champagne has been on ice and it's just about to pop out. And I think it popped out today, definitely. The problem for Spain is that if they get past Croatia, they'll face the winner of France and Switzerland. And most likely it's going to be France. So I think that's where their journey might end. But they certainly have the players that can upset France on their day. But you'll have to fancy France against them. In terms of fantasy options, I would not even go near Morata. As Rob said, I mean, I was on Twitter and as soon as they got a penalty, everyone was like, he's got to miss, he's got to miss.
You just knew. The poor bloke, you just know that he's going to miss. And
and he missed. We feel it's almost reaching that point where we feel sorry for the guy.
I do.
That's his problem. I mean, he's not able to recover mentally from these setbacks. It's happened to him a lot. Juventus, Atletico Madrid, etc. So probably won't go near Morata. Gerard Moreno as well. Not even sure he's going to start. In terms of fantasy prospects, maybe I'll go for Jordi Alba. He's the one who got an assist today. good chance creator. And if they manage to keep a clean sheet against Croatia, maybe you can go for him. Otherwise, it's a merry-go-round of a lot of midfielders. Anyone can score on their day. It's a little difficult to predict overall.
We just don't know who's going to start for them, do you?
Yeah.
Sophie, I'm not sure what the prices of the Spanish players are like on the game that you're playing, but I know on the official UEFA game, Moreno is quite cheap in comparison to other players, and Pau Torres is quite cheap in comparison to other players in the Spanish side. Is that the same in your game as well that you're playing, or is he kind of like are they kind of like mid-range, like the same?
I don't. I'm not quite sure, like at the top of my head, because in our game you have so much money. You don't.
Okay.
It's like the prices are quite similar to fan teams, and I don't know. And we have like a 105 million budget, so it's been like.
Would you be looking at anyone from the Spain side to get from a fantasy point of view, do you think? Because I think a lot of people that are playing the UEFA game, even though, like what you said, Ruksheet, that it's kind of a merry-go, when you get to the last 16 and the quarters, etc., going forward, finding those players of lower value is quite important that you think will go forward. And Pau Torres being 4.5 and Moreno being 6.5, I think will be quite popular. I don't know, Sophie, what do you think from Spain? Anyone that you're looking at?
I've had Paul Torres in my team in the UEFA game, but I do prefer Alba because he's probably starts. I know there's a bit of question with Gaia there, but probably they're most nailed. And he's also been very good in their games going forward, having lots of crosses. The only thing that's been sort of killing that attack is that no one has really been there to take those crosses from him or receive them. So I get Torres, but for me, Moreno is way too uncertain with game time to take a chance on him. I'd rather. I don't know. I think I would rather go for. It's hard because the UEFA prices are quite stiff, so it's quite hard to get the budget to go up. But
everyone does get an extra. Everyone gets an extra 5 million in the UEFA game.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
so,
it goes up to 105 now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good because most of the players who are left now are kind of expensive, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think there'll be another price rise of 0.1 or 0.2 for a lot of players tonight as well. So
I'm a little concerned about Pau Torres. I mean, Eric Garcia started today. They won 5-0. So there's no guarantee Pau Torres is going to come back into the starting lineup. So yeah,
that's true.
It's a little uncertainty.
Okay, let's look at this evening's games then, and what two games we had, both finishing 2-2. Let's look at the Germany-Hungary game first. Sophie, you looked at this game, and I actually watched this one as well. What did you think?
I thought Hungary were awesome, and I feel very bad for them. I thought Germany were quite terrible, to be honest. Very disappointed. Huge contrast from their last game against Portugal. I really don't know what to think about Germany at this point because they've been so convincing in attack, or they've showed so much great attack against Portugal, and then they come on against Hungary and do this. But that being said, Hungary have been a really tough opponent to meet for all the teams in Group F. All the teams have struggled with scoring. They didn't concede. Portugal didn't manage to score until 85 minutes or something. So they've been tough opponents to meet for everyone. So I guess maybe we underrated Hungary a bit when you target, or at least I did, because I targeted them pretty heavily with Germany attackers, and that didn't go really well. And I think for me, for Germany, Havertz is the one that I've been most convinced by. I think he's looked really great, and I've been really disappointed by Gnabry, who's been he hasn't had any goal involvement yet. I know that before the Euros, he used to have on average 1 goal involvement per game for Germany, I think. So that there's been scored 7 goals or 8, and he's had 0 involvement is quite disappointing if you have Gnabry in your team, which I do. And
Yeah,
have
same.
I had Gosens captain tonight.
I did too. So I actually thought I was quite disappointed by Germany's performance tonight. I thought Hungary were the better team, and I really didn't see much from Germany until the end, really.
Okay.
But,
Before, Rob, I come to you and Rakshi on the Germany game. I've just thought we have not discussed that Dubravka own goal yet.
Yeah, we can do. We've got the Pandas pictures section to discuss it. So
Okay. We can discuss the Dubravka goal then. That
Yeah.
was the best own goal I've ever seen in my life. That's amazing. Right, Rakshi, what did you think of the Germany game? And England, Germany, what do you think is going to happen here? And do you look at any Germany assets? Is there anything from that German side that you thought was worth targeting?
It's hard to nail Germany down. I'm not sure what Germany are going to turn up on any match day. I think they were okay against France, and they created a lot of chances but could not finish. Portugal game was wild. They won 4-2. I mean, they overloaded the wingbacks. Gosens was absolutely insane. Joshua Kimmich was nice. So when I actually made a preview for this match for the Indian daily fantasy football app, and I was heavily emphasizing on Gosens and Kimmich, and they did nothing today. And everything went through the middle of the park. Cruz is always there, a lot of set pieces, but I mean, he's okay in terms of fantasy prospects. I agree with Sophie about Havertz. I think he's the one to go for. He's picking up form at the right time, scored in the last match, looked okay in this match as well. And if you want to go for a German attacker, and I actually captained Havertz in the UEFA game today, and I'm so pretty happy with at least that goal. He looked decent. Gnabry is very disappointing. I also got Gnabry in my team, and he's done nothing for me. I've had him, I think, all 3 rounds, and he's not
Me
even
too.
looked like scoring.
Every
Not
week
even
I
looked
wait
like scoring.
for the last week, and I'm just like, okay, I just need that 1 goal from Gnabry to take on my opponent, and I think it's going to come, but it never happens.
It's annoying.
Yeah, so Cruz is going to start alongside Cruz. Gundogan was, I think, replaced by Goretzka. Goretzka scored, so I'm not even sure Gundogan's going to start. In terms of the defense, Germany have been leaking goals left, right, and center. So even though England can't score a goal, Germany, I'm pretty sure, will give them a chance to score. So I don't know what's going to happen in that England-Germany match. There could be some goals. Germany definitely don't go near the defense. They have not been good.
Even
defensively.
Gosens?
Gosens, in terms of his attacking ability, yes. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant. Kimmich, I'm not sure if he's a midfielder or a defender. He's also a good option.
He's classed as a midfielder in the UEFA game,
Okay.
and Gosens is classed as a defender in the UEFA game.
Sham, could you captain Gosens on Tuesday?
No, not when I'm going to the England game.
Yeah, captain Gosens on Tuesday, and something bad will happen to like England
That
will
is
just go
true.
on a route, and like Sham, just every captain that he picks, they either don't start, they get brought off at half time, they score an own goal. We've had everything.
I captained Fernandez for Russia when he got subbed off, when he got injured after 25 minutes. Then I captained Dumfries when he got hauled at half time. And then I captained Gosens tonight, and he did fuck all.
So your luck with wingbacks is pretty bad.
No, not very good with defenders. Rob, how? I mean, we'll talk about this more in the preview, but look at any German players. Do you think Gosens a shout against England?
No, Havertz. Like I think in that game I'll probably just go 1 from each, because I do think it's tight. And the player that stands out is Havertz, OOP, pretty much playing as a false 9 / number 9. It showed when he scored today. He was the first, like most of any attacking movement that Germany made, he was the furthest player forward. Very much, spearheading the attack at times. I think there's you're getting great value from just him I don't think I'd go if you'd want someone like Gosens, but I don't think he's going to get that freedom against England that he did against Portugal. Like Nelson Semedo was the right back for Portugal,
Oh,
and he's going to be coming up against one of Walker. I think it'll be probably
Reece
Walker.
James. Not Reece James?
I think it'll probably be Walker. I think he'll play. I mean, we'll talk about it in the preview, but I think it'll be Walker again.
It's a thought for the preview. Maybe we play a back five against Germany.
No, what we did last night. So Saka as a right wing back, as a right midfielder, who slots in and plays as a wing back when they're not in possession.
Okay, let's move on to the next game. France versus Portugal, another cracker. And Rakshit, you looked at this one. What did you think of the game? I didn't get to watch it, so as much of an explanation would be great.
Brilliant match, absolutely brilliant match. So 2-2 in the end, and Ronaldo obviously just somehow finds a way to score. Whether he's going to leap 50 feet up in the air, score headers, couple of penalties today. So 3 penalties were given in this particular match, and I found a couple of them to be a little strange. The first penalty which Portugal got, basically Lloris kind of half got the ball, half punched Danilo Pereira, and I would say it was
I saw that one. He gave him a right hook, didn't he?
I mean, I'm a goalkeeper,
So am I.
And I have done that to someone, and the referee told them to get up. But I half meant to punch the player in the face. But I knew that when the ball came in for a cross, so I knew as long as I kept my eye on the ball, the referee would be on my side. I I can understand why it was given, but as a goalkeeper, I was just like, there's nothing Lloris can do really.
I mean, he got the ball, then he got the man, so basically punched him in the head. And so Ronaldo scored. Then the France penalty was a really bad call. Again, Nelson Semedo, who else was involved, he basically fouled Mbappe in the box. He could not cope with the pace of Mbappe. And I don't think it should have been a pen. And France were, I think, a little lucky. Benzema, interestingly, is still on penalties, even after he missed one, I think, in the friendlies. And immediately after halftime, Benzema scored again. So he's someone who's basically coming back into form, especially against bigger opponents where Griezmann, basically stronger teams, Griezmann tends to drop deeper into midfield, does a lot of defensive work, and Mbappe and Benzema are basically left further up front. So a lot of people are going to be looking at Mbappe against, I believe, Switzerland.
Yeah.
But Benzema is really good punt. I mean, we all know he's a great striker, and it was just about him finding his rhythm in the French team. And with these couple of goals, I think he could be obviously a great option to go for. Pogba, once again, was brilliant. He gave an assist to Benzema. Yeah, Mbappe should have also scored, given his through ball in the first half. He's just looking different class in this tournament, and Kante's presence in midfield basically helps him unleash going forward. In terms of Portugal, I would say it's only Ronaldo. Bruno Fernandes did not even start. Jota is inconsistent. Defensively, I probably won't go near Portugal, especially I think they face Belgium, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So even though Rafa Guerrero is brilliant going forward, he's a liability at the back. So it's Ronaldo or bust.
I'd just like to say in the preview streams, I did call that Ronaldo would equal the record before the end of the group stage.
Yeah. Has he equaled it now?
Yeah, he equaled the record of the second penalty this evening. So I'm going to say it now. He'll score against Belgium. They'll probably go out, but he'll score. He'll break the record in this tournament.
Well, Rob, might as well go to you then. Assets for the next round or thoughts on this game?
I think, target the French. Benzema, I do like maybe over Mbappe. Because he does. I was very impressed with some of his movement. I think it took him a couple of games almost to settle back into the French side. But his movement today, and like he's got where before Mbappe and Griezmann, they were the main men. I think now Benzema is the main man, and they kind of create the space for him. They Mbappe and Griezmann, they push so far wide, and it takes the centre halves tend to have to go out with them because the fullbacks are pushing up, taking the opposition fullbacks. So the centre halves are having to just getting drawn out, and that's what happened with Benzema's goal. The centre half gets drawn out because of Griezmann's run. Benzema, it's a brilliant ball through by Pogba. Benzema just gets half a yard ahead of the centre half, and he's through in on goal. It's a great finish as well. So, and I think is he 1.5 less than Mbappe, or 2 million less than Mbappe? It just screams value if you want to, like, knowing that you're going to have to the French side. You want 2 or 3 assets, and they're assets in every position. There's no starters that are cheap for them. So if you want to have 2 or 3 assets, you're going to have to probably not go with Mbappe and go with someone a little bit cheaper. And I think Benzema just fits the bill for that, along with Pogba.
Rakshi, just back to you for a second, because you watched the game tonight. I came into the game thinking if England played France, I wouldn't mind. From what I've seen of France so far, I thought they were a bit underrated, like overrated. Like, I don't think they're that good. Like, in terms of everyone's like literally everyone is saying they're the best team by far in this Euros. I think they're a bit overrated. Did tonight give that impression to you or not?
So France, if you remember the 2018 World Cup, they were very average during the group stages, and they really exploded into life. So I was in the stadium for that France Argentina match. So I'm an Argentina fan,
wow, okay.
and that was a 4-3 crazy game that was, and that's when France really exploded onto the scene. And I have a feeling about this particular tournament as well. Underwhelming group stage, you're right. I mean, the Hungary match, they were poor. Against Germany, they were, I think, just about the better team. Against Portugal today, a lot of misfits. I mean, Jules Koundé played as a right back. Lucas Hernandez, left back, got subbed at halftime. So defensively, I think there are issues. But I think when it comes to knockout matches, I'll still back France. I think perhaps against any team in the Euros at the moment. So I agree they've been a little underwhelming, but this is the phase of the tournament where I really expect them to kick in right now.
Sophie, what do you think of France and Portugal? Do you also think that France are overrated?
I was like nodding like crazy when you were saying that. But that's just because I've been sort of underwhelmed by their attack, because you see that striker or that pair front three they have, and it's just like you imagine them to be scoring 5-6 goals a game, and they just haven't been doing that. But there are also some teams that, like Rakshit says, that they have to sort of play themselves into the tournament, kind of, and I guess they might be a team like that. But I've also found, I've been like, okay, their attackers have sort of lost their appeal for me, because I see Belgium, I see Italy, I see those Germany, I see them all playing so much attacking football and scoring plenty of goals. And I would rather have like an attacker from a team that scores like 5 goals a game, where one attacker can get 2 goals and 1 assist, than Mbappe, who has like 3 goal chances and no one goes in. And like it's but I mean Mbappe has also looked like he's looked so good the games I watched, and it's been I captained him against Hungary, and it was extremely frustrating. And so it's like I know they can do it, but they just haven't done it in the group stages for me. So I'm a bit,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the final game. Has anyone got anything else to add on France versus Portugal?
France have done exactly the same as what England are doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
One last thing.
I think
Yeah.
you'll see, like as Ratchet said, I think we'll see a different French side in the knockout stages. The group stages for the top sides, it's kind of just a case of just going through the motions almost. Get yourself into the knockout stage. They finished top without really. I don't think we've seen them break a sweat really. I don't think we've seen the best of them yet. And that can only mean that at some point someone's going to get a hiding. And it could be the Swiss. That could be the game that they just suddenly go, right, we're going to turn it on. Or they could just cruise against Switzerland because I think they could probably beat Switzerland in fourth gear, and then they just turn it on in their quarter-final game. But at some point, someone's getting a hiding.
Rakshi, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so I have used my limitless and wildcard in terms of the Euro game, and I think everyone's gonna have a clean start. I think a wildcard before the knockout tournament begins. So we are probably gonna back France to go deep in the tournament, and I'd probably say pick one attacker, maybe Mbappe or Benzema, and I'd probably go for a couple of defenders. Now, I don't know what's going on with Lucas Hernandez. He didn't start the last match, got subbed off halftime, and even Luca Digne, he got injured immediately after coming on. Pavard did not start this match. Jules Koundé did. So perhaps the two defenders to go for are the two centre backs, Kimpembe and Varane. So I'm pretty sure we'll go with a couple of French players minimum for the knockout stages. So probably Benzema and Varane are the two players I'm looking for, because I think these two will do well up till the later stage of the tournament.
Okay, cool. Right. Let's move on to your section, Rob. Pandas pictures, and Rob, I'll let you lead this one.
What should we start with? Shall we start with yesterday? We saw, we spoke earlier about it, and Croatia versus Scotland, and this was posted by, I believe, a Croatian TV channel this morning with Mel Gibson. If you haven't seen the film Braveheart, I don't recommend watching it. It's not great. But yeah, this is Mel Gibson in the film Braveheart, which is the story of William Wallace, and wearing a nice Croatian kilt there, which I thought it was very good. I believe it's a radio channel, Radio Dalmatia. I'm guessing it's a Czech radio channel. It's basically
Croatian.
Talksport Croatia.
Yeah.
So there was that last night. We then had this picture. Ooh, it's not loading up. There we go. Of
Go on, boys. My boys. My irons.
your guys. I hope that that's all they did. They didn't like follow each other down the tunnel and continue this all evening. So yeah, I think it is good to see. Like Rice, I think he's just come on leaps and bounds in the last year or so, and is really fulfilling that potential. And I mean, Sufal in this tournament has been brilliant for the Czechs. Souček's still been quite quiet. And like we said in the preview ahead of the England game last night, we knew that he'd be able to concentrate really more on what's going on around him than getting forward. So he only really got forward during the when they had set pieces and stuff. But yeah, it was a nice moment there for yourself as a
as a West Ham fan. Seeing that picture, it brings me so much joy.
And that brings us on to another picture then from the England game last night and what you're going to do on Tuesday.
So I will, if we get to 300 subscribers, right, we're on 288 at the moment, right? I promise that for the England game, when I'm going, because I've got tickets for the England game next week, I will dress up like this guy if we get to 300 subscribers by tomorrow.
Please,
Right.
please do it, because
I will.
like, you
I
can
will.
see,
If we get to 300 subscribers, I promise you, I will do that.
you can
I
see
will
how
order
long
some lion bars, and I will do that.
you can see how long those lion bars have been strapped to that shirt as well, because they are not suitable to eat anymore. And it's perfect. They've ruined perfectly good lion bars, to be fair. And what makes it even brilliant is the fact he's bleached his hair.
Oh, I'm not going to bleach my hair.
He's done. Well, you've just said you're going to dress up like the guy, and he's bleached his hair.
With the lions on the top.
What else have we got then? We had another David Marshall meme. I'm sure this will be the last one we see of him taking out. I think that's Edge on the top of a ladder in WWE. I think that's going to be it now for David Marshall. We'll see him next year in the World Cup. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think so. Next up, we've got some Dutch fans advertising the free COVID vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca. I think I saw this the other day. I thought it was quite clever. There was a I think it was at a cricket match last week. There was someone dressed up as a virus and someone dressed up as a needle, and the needle was chasing the virus around the cricket match. I'm sure I saw it at the cricket somewhere. What else have we got? Lewandowski.
Yeah, I saw this one. Yeah.
Is that PS? That's not a PS5, is it?
I don't. Yeah, that is a PS5.
That's a PS5, and it's like an Atari something. Yeah,
for Poland.
He's so far ahead of that team. It's unbelievable, and like, got to feel. I think if he is in any mediocre side, he takes that mediocre side really deep into the tournament. But he's in a very poor side with Poland. I mean, he's still got his goals. He's finished the tournament with 3 goals, which coming out of that group and in the side that he's in, I think is a fair return from arguably the best number 9 in the world. And then that leads us on to this moment today. We briefly touched upon it. What was going on?
Did you see that other photo that I uploaded with the volleyball thing?
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
So there's another photo.
I must have done the photos by then.
Oh, okay. So there's another photo which we'll put on Friday's one, and it's actually like a volleyball net, and it shows him doing it on a volleyball net, and it's fucking hilarious. But this is I watched it and I was like, what the fuck has he done? And I watched it, and then my neighbor he missed the goal, so I said, come and see this goal. And he saw it, and he was like, and his face was just like, what the fuck has he done? Like, I don't understand. Sophie, what did you think of this?
I didn't watch it.
You didn't?
You
volleyed it in his net.
Yeah, but I've just heard the words about it. I haven't actually seen it happen.
Rakshi, did you see this?
Yeah, I was watching this match. So basically, this is a reverse Pickford.
Yeah,
Pickford threw the ball on Origi's head, and this guy just put it into his own net. So it reminded me of that Origi goal in the Merseyside derby.
There is a split second as the ball comes down, and you can see his right arm is in the sun. And as the ball comes down, his face, like the right side of his face, is for a split second in the sun. I'm just wondering whether that split second of glare just meant his reactions as the ball came down were just not on it at all. But it was comical. It was like just palming it into the net. Like,
and this after saving a penalty, right?
Yeah. Who was it? Yeah. I saw it was someone. FPL Wilson said, tweeted out, and then he deleted the tweet, so I'm going to call him out on it. He said, Dubravka is just class, and then 2 minutes later this happened. And someone called him out on the tweet being deleted, and I'll call him out now. Like, he just dropped Dubravka right in it there. He was probably the one that caused the sunlight to hit him. And then finally, I think the big news from this week, which I thought we chatted a little bit yesterday about it, and we thought, yeah, we'll touch on it in this. We won't go into too much, and maybe if the listeners and viewers want us to maybe talk about it further, we can do a special at some point later in the tournament, just when we're not so busy. But yeah, the news that UEFA decided to turn down the mayor, I believe it's the mayor of Munich, that sent a letter of request that the Allianz Arena be lit up in rainbow colours, as you can see, and in light of the new laws that were passed a short while ago in Hungary, which the Hungarian, I believe it's Hungarian sports minister, claimed it was to protect young people from homosexuality, and yeah,
Such
it was
bullshit.
yeah, it was. We spoke a bit about it yesterday because it was very much a political statement against Hungary, but on the other hand, yeah, it's something like this. I think it's very. We should be taking a stance as a football community, and UEFA being the head of that community within Europe. We should be taking a stance against this because I mean we've spent a lot of the last year or so talking about discrimination on a whole, and yeah, this could have been a brilliant opportunity for UEFA to kind of really stand their ground and go, yes, we're completely with you on this. And yeah, it was
If
it's
if
it
anyone, if you
disappointed
guys
me.
listening or watching want us to do like an hour, 45 minute special on this, drop a comment in the chat or drop us a tweet or whatever, just so that we know that people do want to listen, because it's something that is really important to me, and I've got a lot of views on it. So Sophie, what did you think of this? Did you hear about what happened?
Yeah, so the Hungarian law, I think it places homosexuality in the same, it's sidelined with pedophilia, which
Wow.
is why it is which is why people want to demonstrate against it, because the symbolic effect of that, when you sideline something as homosexuality and you place it in the same category as pedophilia, words matter, and that matters. And I have lots of opinions on this, but I will make it short. I just find it, whoever has no problem with speaking about equality and saying that they're for equality until it actually matters, and that annoys me.
I agree. That's similar to my thoughts on it.
Hmm.
Exactly my thoughts on it. Yeah. Maybe we'll bring you back on the pod if we do end up doing this. Rakshi, what did you think?
I mean, I don't want to get into the Hungarian political scene. I heard what happened, but UEFA has been a disgrace from the very beginning. They basically said in their statement, "We stand by everyone in the community," without actually standing by everyone in the
Yeah,
community. Yeah. So I mean, they're hypocrites of the highest order, and they are basically pandering to the Hungarian prime minister, president, whoever he is, and not taken a stand. This was a wonderful opportunity to actually take a stand during the Euros when the world is watching, and UEFA bottled it basically.
yeah. I
That's
think
exactly my thoughts.
that's the big thing is
Yeah.
like they like you. I can understand that. Yeah, political protest. It's a very fine line between for like sport and politics and all of this, and I believe they do fit together, because so much in sport it brings communities together, and it's football especially, like it's very much a global game that's played in most countries in the world. You give a group of people a ball, they'll kick it about, and yeah, it's I think yeah this whole everyone is equal and we stand by everyone, fucking do it then. At
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Yeah, I
And
agree. Talking about it for 5 minutes doesn't do it justice,
no,
which is why we need a full 45 minutes to an hour on it to kind of go through the pros and the cons, whatever there might be, because there will be people, there will be reasons as to why they don't do it, whether or not we agree or disagree, there will be reasons. So it's worth us going proper deep dive into it. If that's what people want, then we'll do it, because I think it's a really good subject.
because it's obviously a lot that we don't know. I don't want to comment on Hungarian politics without knowing the politics of Hungary, or politics of any other nation that these things happen. And there's a lot of places in the world out there where some really nasty shit happens. And it is something that we need to touch on. And using sport to create that equality and the equal opportunities for people all over the world, then it's a great thing and it should be applauded, not stopped.
Just one, I'm going to say one last thing before we move on. And this is the thing that I said to you, Rob, the biggest thing about this that I don't understand is that as UEFA, they decided to do the BLM movement in terms of taking the knee, and everyone decided to take the knee in a stand against racism, which was great and fantastic that they've done that. But what is the difference between doing that and then doing this? Like I like taking a stance against racism should be no different to taking a stance against homophobic behavior, in my opinion. So that's kind of what I'll say on it.
I told you my opinion on that particular thing that you said yesterday, and I don't want to get into that right now. Because we will sit here and back and forth all evening.
Yeah, we could do. Right, have you got any more pictures, Rob, or is that it?
That is it. I thought we'd use that as the last one. Perfect. Guys, if you think it's something that needs to be talked about, then I'm happy to do some proper reading up on it, and we can have a proper discussion on it. I think it'll be quite interesting, especially where we've got at some point FPL is going to start rolling in, and we're going to be talking a lot about FPL, but maybe using this time where we don't want to go diving into prices for players that like the teams and the fucking the transfer market, like the whole squad could be different in 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time. So I don't want to be talking about something that's going to be irrelevant in 2 months time. It's let's bring that back at some point in the next 6 weeks or so.
Right, let's look at the round of 16, and I know we've been discussing it throughout the show anyway, but let's bring it up and quickly go through what our thoughts on the game, what it might be, and I'll just go. I won't go to all of you for every game. I'll just pick one or two because we're stretched for time at the moment. So let's start off with, what's the first one, Rob?
Let's go by the app because I'm just going to have it scrolling through. So hopefully
the first game. What's the first game? Is it Wales and Denmark? Is the first game?
First game.
Wales and Denmark is the first game on Saturday. Sophie, what do you think the outcome of this one's going to be, and do you think who do you think people should be targeting in terms of players?
I think Denmark might take this one. So I think they can reach the quarterfinal through knocking out Wales. But Wales have been decent, so I think this is a hard match to sort of predict, especially since Denmark, it's like they as a team, they can be really good, but they can also struggle a bit like they did in the first half against Russia. It wasn't,
Okay, Rakshi, any additional thoughts on this one? Do you agree with Sophie?
Yeah, this is a really, really difficult one to call. I mean, there isn't really much in it. I fancy this one will go to penalties maybe. So I can see like a 1-1 at the end of full time going to penalties. In terms of fantasy assets, there's obviously Gareth Bale is there. He was brilliant against Turkey. And I can see like dull 1-1 sort of an affair where it's difficult to actually predict who's going to get on the score sheet. From a Denmark perspective, Poulsen has been okay, Brathwaite has looked good, but in the absence of Eriksen, there isn't really a focal point in the Danish attack, and it's difficult to pick a fantasy asset from this Denmark team. From a Wales point of view, it's always Bale and Ramsey, I guess.
Okay. The next game is Italy versus Austria. Rob, is this a triple up of Italy then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Which players do we look at for this one?
That's the problem. I'm thinking at the moment. So I did a little cheeky wildcard draft last night. So I was like, oh, let's start thinking about it. And at the moment, I've got Immobile, Spinazzola. Have I got 4? Because in the round of 16 you can have up to 4 players from a team.
You can have 4 players. Yeah.
I think I went 4. Did I go 4? No, I went 3. Immobile. Oh no, I have gone 4. Immobile.
Well, have you gone 5?
I've only gone 4. Immobile, Spinazzola, Bonucci, and Berardi at the moment. Which could be Chiesa instead. Yeah, I think I'm going to definitely want to back an Italian clean sheet. They haven't conceded for 11 games. I don't see them concede. Nothing, even though Switzerland were impressive in match day 3, nothing told me that they were impressive enough.
Okay.
Going forward.
I'm just going to go for, because of time. Sorry. I'm just going to go for pick one of you each for each of the fixtures, because we're doing a round of 16 preview on Friday, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll talk about that then.
We'll talk about it then. Netherlands and the Czech Republic. Sophie, what do you think of this one?
I think Netherlands are gonna win this one probably, but the Czech are a hardworking team, so they're not very easy to break down, I think. But Netherlands have been really good attacking, and there can probably be goals both ways because of Netherlands' defense. So I rate
Depay and Dumfries.
Still, and Dumfries, of course, he's my hero. So those two are my go-to guys from Netherlands.
Okay. Rakshit, one of the ties of the round, Belgium-Portugal. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I always get the tough ones to predict. Well, in terms of overall squad quality, I'd have to back Belgium. As I mentioned earlier, Portugal have been a one-man show, and Ronaldo can carry Portugal up to a certain point, but with De Bruyne, Lukaku, what a partnership they are forming for Belgium. And in terms of the overall strength of the team, I think I'll just about back Belgium in this one. But I can see both teams scoring. In terms of fantasy assets, so many players to go for. I mean, budget is a big problem in this particular match. If you're playing the official UEFA game, then you have to back one of the teams, because I think you'll carry forward the player into the next round. For someone like me who does not have the wild card, I'll basically have to predict the winner. So probably I'll still say Lukaku, because he's just looking imperious, and because I'm backing Belgium to win this, I'd probably just about go for him over Ronaldo. Ronaldo will always get the goals. Then there's always De Bruyne, who is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So these 3 are the obvious picks, but I'm not sure we'll have the budgets to maybe pick all 3.
Sham pause now.
Oh.
No, he's still there.
Am I frozen? Am I still there?
No, yeah, you are still here.
Yeah. Croatia versus Spain?
Who's talking about Croatia versus Spain?
I'm asking you.
Oh, you did say that. Spain. You were frozen.
I said Rob. Oh, okay, sorry. I said Rob, Croatia versus Spain.
You were just like, you had your eyes closed. I thought you'd fallen asleep.
Oh, right.
Croatia versus Spain. I'm going to side. It's going to be close. I'm going to go with Spain. I don't know whether you kind of need. I'll probably go Pau Torres, and that might be it. just because he's nice and cheap to have in there. I'm not sure on Moreno, or definitely don't want Morata. Pedri maybe. With Busquets in there, he just seems to have that bit more freedom to get forward as well. So maybe Pedri if I need some value in midfield. But Pau Torres, I think he'll probably be 4 point. What's he currently? He's 4.7. He's going to be 4.8 or 4.9 because he got the return today as well. So I think anyone under going into towards the quarterfinals, if you can go into the quarterfinals with a couple of players under 5 million, then it just opens up the rest of the squad for you.
Okay, Sophie, France versus Switzerland. What are you going to be doing in your fantasy teams with this one?
Yeah, so I think this is quite easy on paper, France, and I'll probably be going for some defenders and one striker, like Rokshi said earlier, because not entirely convinced by their attack yet, but it should be happening soon enough. So,
okay,
and Switzerland is a good fixture, so they're not great in defense.
Yeah, Rokshi, I'm giving you the other hard one: England versus Germany.
Wow. I'm not sure about any player from England at all because I don't know who's going to start up front. So I'm not going to go for Kane because he's not in form. Perhaps Raheem Sterling, but he still doesn't convince me. In terms of the midfielders, it's total lottery. We Grealish, Saka. I'm not even sure. Is Mason Mount available again? Is he going to be?
Possibly.
No, I think Mount and Chilwell, because they'll only be out of isolation on Monday, so they're not even going to be joining training with the rest of the squad.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be featuring in round of 16. I don't think there's any reason for Shaw to get dropped. Luke Shaw's someone that I might punt on. He might be my one England punt.
You think England are going to keep a clean sheet in that match?
They can.
Maybe.
They can.
Yeah, it's so tough to call.
This could be it could be biased from myself, but also from Luke Shaw. The attacking threat, or just take a punt on Saka. He's cheap.
What
let's
happens
move on
to
to the next game.
Foden? I mean, what happens to Foden? Does he come back in, or does he stay out? I mean,
I think this is it's an interesting balance. I think the lineup could be pretty much the same, or maybe Henderson instead of Phillips, possibly. But other than that, I think it could pretty much be the same as last night. Just
right, I'm gonna move us on to the next game, Rob, because of time, because we're gonna cover this on Friday stream anyway, right?
Yeah.
Right, let's go on to Sweden and Ukraine, the last game. Rob, what do you think of this one? Are you taking any assets? It's different to call, right?
I think Sweden will. If I had to pick a winner, it's going to be Sweden. I think they've looked more assured throughout. Ukraine, I think in the end, are very lucky to still be in the tournament. They played well for the first game and a half, and then, as I said the other night, from the second half of match day 2 through match day 3, they were awful. They need Malinovsky to find some form because he makes them tick in midfield, and if he has another bad game, they're gonna. I think the Swedish will punish them. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Sweden.
Okay, right. That's all the round. A quick view of the round of 16. We are doing another stream on Friday, and we are going to be bringing back our Welsh rep and our Danish rep to preview. Do a kind of 15 minute preview on Wales and Denmark. That's kind of going to be the main bulk of it, and then we'll review all the rest of the other games. We'll be going through how everyone's done in the mini leagues that we've got so far, and an update on the rep competition that we've done as well. Is that pretty much it on Friday, Rob?
Yeah, I thought that was my job, was telling everyone what's happening up next.
Sorry, it was your job, and then I kind of
the Welsh rep, who's at Carwyn Hammond on Twitter, you can find him there. He'll be giving us his views on Wales in the group stages ahead of Saturday's big game against Denmark, and our Danish rep, who is FPL_cycling. So yeah, they'll be joining us. I'm not sure what time yet. What time are we going to be going live? Probably not so late.
9, I think you said. Is it 9?
Yeah, we'll probably aim to start at about 9 o'clock, so we don't have to. We're not keeping you up on your Friday night. So yeah, come and join us. We can have a couple of drinks maybe because it's Friday. I have a drink every night when we stream. So we'll be going through and hopefully be able to. I think it's been tough this evening to really be able to properly digest the draw and everything. Being able to have a play around with the wild card. We'll have, by then, I'll probably be locked in. You won't.
No.
Because you fanny about too much, and
I do.
You'll say this is my team 1 minute, and then the next morning you'll wake up and you'd have had some sort of epiphany.
That's basically me.
You'd have picked your player that you're going to curse for the round of 16. So
should I go with a quadruple Germany?
Yes, do that. Please. Just pick all the German players and curse them all.
Right, let's quickly. If you guys have got any questions, please drop them in the chat and we'll get them answered. Before we move on to questions, what Sophie and Rakshi, why don't you tell us about? It's so funny how you both looked up. I was like, Sophie, Rakshi, do you want to tell us, Sophie? You can go first. How you've been getting on in the fantasy games that you've been playing so far, and what your thinking is for the next rounds.
Should I have started this before the Portugal game, because at that point I was ranked at 160 out of 81,000 in the.
Oh wow! Is this the Norwegian one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, doing really well.
Yeah, but I don't have Ronaldo in my team.
Okay.
So I've fallen down to 700 after that game, which is quite a nosedive. And in the UEFA Euros, I've been... overall, I've been actually doing pretty well in the Norwegian one. And in the UEFA one, I was doing quite well the first 2 weeks. I think I was around 3,000 OR or something. And then taking a huge dive this week, down to I think I am down at 35,000 or something. It was the fall has been it's been a big fall. so I think I'm going to focus on the Norwegian one. Yeah, so that's how I've been doing in the fantasy games.
Nice. Actually, I know you play loads of fantasy games. How have you been getting on?
It's been a disaster. Basically,
do you think just before you say, do you think that's because you're playing so many and you're kind of go on, I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, so basically during the Euros, workload has been insane. I'm also covering Copa America matches for basically my YouTube channel. So I've been also playing Fan Team, the official UEFA game. I've been playing the Indian version called Dream 11 as well. And I think I messed around a little too much. I even missed a deadline on match day 2. So the ranks have been absolutely terrible. So not being able to devote much time in terms of basically thinking about it, especially with the UEFA format where you have to change your team every day. And it's been a little difficult for me to do that on a daily basis. So UEFA rank is just horrible. I've not checked it. I use my wildcard and my limitless. I basically thought I'll gain an advantage. So if you want to win the UEFA game, then you basically have to target the group stages using the best teams you can possibly get and make reasonable predictions in the round of 16 that will carry you to the final. So I messed up Hungary, like Sophie mentioned, I basically targeted them throughout the group stages, and they performed really well. And the players who played against Hungary really didn't perform the way I expected them to. So, fan team I've been playing. So, okay, it's been around 7K. I have not checked my rank after this particular round of matches. I have Ronaldo in my team, so it should be all right. And so yeah, it's been very underwhelming, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Me and Rob will go through how we've done so far on Friday stream, just because UEFA One hasn't updated, and then we can give you proper.
It has.
Has it updated
Yeah,
now?
you
Did
just
you want
don't
to give
want
an update?
You just don't want to tell everyone.
No, we can give an update. I don't mind. I haven't checked my score. How have you done?
So how have I done? Well, I haven't done very well. Yeah, I've got 59 points in the end. My gamble on Germany, I had Gnabry, Gosens, and Havertz. On the whole, it didn't work, but I picked.
Who did you captain tonight? Did you captain Havertz?
Yeah, of course I did. Like,
Okay.
I'm not an idiot. I don't captain fullbacks.
Defenders.
I don't captain fullbacks in tournaments. Yeah, so there was I mean, my front three, it was just disappointing. Belotti, Isaac, and Che Adams. Yeah, it was three punty picks to sort of make space for the big money in midfield, and it just did not work at all. In the mini league, where is our mini league? In our mini league, Stephen Irish is still top. He finished with 66 points this week, taking up to 224. Puts him just outside the top 1K overall. So very good. But the top four are all separated by just 4 points.
Wow.
So yeah, it's tight at the top of the mini league, but I'll be coming for them with my wild card. I don't know where you are. I can't scroll that far.
Oh, very funny. I got 59 points. 53 points this week. Total of 188, 64k rank. Disappointing. I had the triple up tonight on Germany and Gosens as captain. First captain fail I've had this week, which is unfortunate.
First captain fail you had this week?
No, as in for.
I was going to say you failed like if every captain pick.
Yeah. I mean in terms of at the end of a match day. Right, let's go through some questions, and I think there's been a couple in the chat. So the first one was by David Strom. He asked, which teams would you predict to get a surprise advancement from the round of 16? Rakshi, what do you think? If there was a surprise, who would it be?
So I actually fancy Ukraine to go through. I'm not sure if it's a surprise, but I think they were really good in the first couple of matches, and I sort of backed them to do well against Austria, and that was a really poor performance from Ukraine. Like, they had a really bad day, and Austria thoroughly deserved their win. But I feel they have a lot of attacking flair up front with Marinovsky, Yaremchuk, Yarmolenko. They've all looked good. Zinchenko's looked okay. Defensively, I think they're still vulnerable. But Sweden, they're also not that great defensively as well. So I actually feel Ukraine will edge this one, and they'll probably go into the next round. And I'll also fancy Wales actually to go through against Denmark.
That is a big a punt there. Wales against Denmark. Sophie, any other?
No, I was just about to say if there were one surprise to pick out, I would go for Ukraine as well, because they're sort of an underdog that I've really taken a liking to during this tournament. I love watching them play. Every game is, except maybe their last game, has been so exciting to watch. I've also watched their friendlies before and also been very exciting to watch. So I'm sort of thinking if someone is like an underdog who manages to surprise and get through, I think it will be Ukraine.
Okay, Rob, any surprises?
I'm going to go with Wales.
Okay.
Or Portugal to sneak a win against Belgium.
Ooh,
I think that game, it's this sort of game where, like, and it's because I said earlier, I said Ronaldo's going to break the record in that game. they could take the lead and then just sit there and just say to Belgium, right, come at us, and just sit back. And they're the sort of team that could just shithouse their way through to the next round because
Like they
that's
did
what they
before.
are. Yeah, they
Yeah.
seem to do it all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna go out there and just say Portugal.
David asked in the chat, and Rob, you might need to answer this one. Is it time tonight to stock up on players that have returned points this match day, as they may rise in price, or do they, or have they, or?
I haven't checked whether there's been any price rises currently. If there has been, then it's probably too late because the price rises would have happened.
Yeah.
If not,
My understanding is that there won't be price rises now until the next time. So, because we could have started building our wild card already.
Yeah.
So I don't think.
I think that the price rises are done now. I can't see how you can continue rising players' prices during the knockouts when the player pool is going to be halving every single match day. So like, yeah, it just if it's going to be fun for people, then yeah, I can understand price rises during the group stages because you might have under or overpriced players. But yeah, once you get into the knockouts where you're losing half the player pool every match day, I don't think they will be doing price rises. So I think that's it now. Once you open the app tomorrow morning, I think that could be the prices for the rest of the tournament. Or it could be now, even now, whatever the prices are now.
Two more questions. Which team is the panel going all in for? 4 players. Sophie, would you be in the official game? Would you go all in on any particular team?
Yeah, I'd go all in on Italy, I think, for me. They've just been so good. So, Immobile, maybe Insignia, and Donnarumma is such a safe guy at the back. I like him as a sort of set and forget keeper that can last a while. I see Italy going quite far in this tournament. So, and Spinazzola. Yeah, I like those 4.
Okay, Rakshi.
So I'm looking at the draw, and Netherlands basically face Czech Republic, and then if they win, they'll face the winner of Wales and Denmark. So I fancy them to reach the semis, and purely because of the draw, perhaps it'll be Netherlands. So I'll go for like Depay, Dumfries, Wijnaldum, maybe one more. But I definitely fancy 3 Dutch players given the draw they have.
Okay. How many Italy defenders are you going for? Rob, I'll let you answer that one.
I've got 2. Yeah, I've got 2 at the moment. But I mean, if you're that, I think it's like Richie's just said. You have got to kind of, unless you've got the wild card. Like if you've got a wild card, I think you can completely pile into Italy. And yeah, it's just looking at the draw. I've got a hope that my underdog in Portugal beats Belgium. Because I think Italy can beat Portugal, but they can't beat I don't think they can beat Belgium. So yeah, the other side of the draw with Netherlands, Wales, Denmark. Yeah, you'd be fairly confident of Netherlands progressing through, and then you've got 5 transfers just to get rid of them all for the semi-final, or get rid of a couple for the semis if you don't fancy them. Yeah.
Okay, and then the last question is from Maman, and that is Yarmolenko still a good midfield option despite there being so many good midfielders? Sophie, you can answer that one.
I mean, for the UEFA game, you get the chance to set a new wildcard now, right? So maybe this is the time to jump off. Perhaps I think Yarmolenko was great for the group stages, but I don't know how far I think Ukraine will be able to advance past that. But Yarmolenko has been really good. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, at 8.6 million, he's probably a little bit too expensive for what you're going to think you might get from him.
Yeah, and it's a tough one because the cheapest one from them is Malinovsky, and he just hasn't performed. So if you want someone who performs for Ukraine, you go for Yarmolenko. But at the same time, I just don't think that Ukraine are. They're a team that can do really well, but they can also do very poorly, and that's the sort of tough thing with them.
Okay, right. That is all the questions answered. If you guys have any more questions, we are doing our live stream again, like we said, on Friday. Rob, before we wrap up and say goodbye to our guests and thank you, is there anything else that we need to say about Friday?
No, Friday, round of 16 preview with our Welsh rep at Colin Hammond and our Danish rep at FPL_cycling. And we'll hopefully have some potential. We'll hopefully have 4 different wildcard teams to show you. That'll be good. Not 4 templates.
Yeah. Sophie and Rakshi, thank you so much for joining us. We both really appreciate it. We've really enjoyed it. I hope you have as well. Before we go, do you want to just remind the viewers and listeners where they can find you if they want to come and find you? Not actually come and find you, but you know what I mean. Sophie, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Apelsinjuice with 2 S's at the end.
Okay, and Rakshi?
Yeah, you can find me at @FantasyScout_11.
And you've got a YouTube channel as well. Is it called? What's it called? Your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is Fantasy Scout 11 Football, but
Perfect.
it's basically for Indian followers, yeah, because you won't understand the language.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Unless you speak Hindi, in which case is Hindi, right?
It's basically a mixture of Hindi and English, yeah, but mostly Hindi. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Right. To the listeners and the viewers, thank you so much for listening and watching. Please like, subscribe, and retweet. And remember, if we get to 300 subscribers by tomorrow, I will be wearing the 3 lion bars on the England shirt next Tuesday when I go to the game. So do it for everyone else.
David, clip that, and it's going out on Twitter tomorrow morning, and or even tonight, and. We're going to get those 300 subscribers.
It's only another 10 to go. It's not many. It's not like I'm saying
if we got it to 400, would you bleach your hair as well?
If you pay for it, I would. Or if you come to my house and bleach my hair for me, I will.
Well, I'm coming round on Monday for us to plan.
Yeah, okay. Bring some bleach
next season.
Bring some bleach. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you on Friday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.